Before everything spiraled, Shannon Sharpe was untouchable, a three-time Super Bowl champion
Or as the Hall of Fame tight end that won 3 Super Bowls and set the all-time record in receptions and receiving yards.
And so Shannon Sharpe, touchdown!
and Hall of Fame tight end.
The Sharpe brothers. Wide receiver Sterling Sharpe joining his brother, fellow Hall of Fame tight end Shannon Sharpe, marking the first time in pro football history that siblings have both been enshrined.
His dominance on the field seamlessly carried over into the media world. He didn't just transition, he took over. With his sharp tongue,
Anybody ever told you you look like Miss Netta?
They do sometimes. I don't get up. It used to bother me, but guess what? It don't stop them checks from coming in.
booming laugh, and unfiltered takes, he became a fixture on daytime sports talk shows like Undisputed alongside Skip Bayless. But it wasn't just hot takes that made him a household name. Shannon had charisma. He made memes out of black and mild cigars, sipped Hennessy on air, and turned every segment into viral gold. Then came his own show, Club Shay Shay, a platform he controlled where his guests ranged from cultural icons to controversial figures. He was winning, big, and in a media world where athletes often struggle to stay relevant post-retirement, Shannon Sharpe wasn't just surviving, he was thriving. But even at his peak, there were cracks under the surface. The confidence started to blur into cockiness. The unfiltered honesty sometimes veered into recklessness. He became known not just for opinions, but for moments that made headlines for all the wrong reasons. And as the spotlight grew hotter, so did the risk of getting burned. The beginning of the end came wrapped in whispers and speculation. Online chatter exploded with rumors that Shannon Sharpe had quietly paid out $23 million to settle a private matter involving a woman, one that fans still refer to as the Vanilla Cheeks incident. The details are murky, but the internet did what it does best: connect the dots, fill in the blanks, and run wild. Some say it involved a serious accusation that was never made public. Others believe it was about keeping a story buried, far from the cameras and headlines. One thing's for sure, that kind of payout isn't made unless the stakes are sky high. While no official legal charges were ever confirmed, fans began asking questions. Why would someone with Shannon's reputation shell out that kind of money unless something major went down? The rumor mill didn't slow down either, it picked up steam. Words like grape charge started getting thrown around online, carefully coded to avoid YouTube's content strikes, but loaded with meaning. And whether the allegations were true or not, the damage was already done. Sponsors began distancing themselves. The media, once obsessed with booking him, suddenly got quiet. It was like watching a king slowly get pushed off the throne, not with a shove, but with silence. Shannon Sharpe didn't just lose money, he lost momentum, fast. After the rumored $23 million settlement, the next blow hit even harder. His future with ESPN was suddenly uncertain. Just months earlier, his partnership with Stephen A. Smith had been teased as the next big media duo, two titans of sports debate poised to dominate ratings. But behind the scenes, things started to unravel. Meetings went quiet, bookings dried up, and the opportunities that once came effortlessly started slipping away. People weren't saying it out loud, but the industry had started to move on. Fans were stunned. Shannon's charisma hadn't faded, his insights were still sharp. But in media, perception is everything. When controversy surrounds you, even if it's never proven, executives start asking questions, brands get nervous, networks back off. And just like that, the machine that once kept Shannon Sharpe front and center, Undisputed, ESPN, Club Shay Shay, started slowing down. Even worse, his podcast sponsorships began to stall. Behind the scenes, companies reconsidered their involvement. Some quietly pulled out, others never signed on at all. The content engine that once fed Shannon's empire was sputtering. And while Shannon kept showing up, delivering takes and flashing his signature smile, something had changed. The fire was still there, but the backing was gone. And just when things couldn't get worse, they did. Just as the dust started to settle, another storm hit. This time, it came with a price tag of $20 million. The target? Shannon Sharpe. The accusation? Defamation. It all started during an episode of Shannon's podcast, Nightcap, when he commented on a viral video of a woman dancing with Usher during one of his concerts. The moment blew up online. Flirty, light-hearted, but instantly controversial. Shannon, like many others, chimed in. But the way he told it, he claimed the woman was married with children and that her husband had left her after seeing the footage. The problem? None of that was true. The woman, Jamalita Tillman, isn't married. In fact, she's a single mother and the global director at the Harold Washington Cultural Center in Chicago. And according to her, Shannon's false narrative did real damage: emotional distress, reputational harm, professional setbacks. She hit back with a lawsuit demanding $20 million, claiming his careless words turned her into a viral target, with people labeling her as everything from disloyal to scandalous. And the internet, it did what it always does, ran wild. Memes spread, narratives hardened, and her name stayed in the mud. Even though Shannon never named her directly, the clips, timing, and imagery made it clear who he was referring to. And in today's world, that's all it takes. Legally, it's a gray area. Can she prove emotional and financial damage from something said on a podcast? Maybe, maybe not. But here's the thing, when you're Shannon Sharpe, the game is different. The moment people know you have money, everything becomes a target. Every joke becomes a lawsuit. Every rumor becomes a risk. And with $23 million already out the door, this new hit, public, legal, and messy, might be the one that finally breaks the foundation. But Sharpe's legal battles weren't just about money. They were a warning to every influencer watching. Shannon Sharpe's situation isn't just a personal disaster, it's a wake-up call for every influencer with a mic and a following. In the old days, a slip-up might earn you backlash, maybe even get clipped for a meme. But now, it gets you sued. Here's the brutal truth. The internet doesn't play fair when you're successful. If you're a big name with deep pockets, your words aren't just opinions, they're ammunition. Bloggers and streamers can say wild stuff and get away with it. But someone like Shannon? One sentence out of place becomes a lawsuit worth millions. This isn't new. Cardi B set the standard when she took a YouTuber to court for spreading false claims and won big. That case made it crystal clear. If you lie or even just speculate too loosely and the other person can prove harm, you'll pay. Shannon isn't being targeted because he's evil. He's being targeted because he's exposed. The same content that made him famous, the raw honesty, the unfiltered takes, the jokes, became the exact thing that put him in legal danger. And it's not just Shannon. Every influencer, podcaster, and YouTuber should be paying attention right now, because the line between commentary and defamation, it's getting thinner by the day, and one wrong sentence could be the beginning of the end. This wasn't the first time Shannon Sharpe flirted with controversy, and it probably won't be the last. From the beginning, his brand was built on being raw, bold, and unfiltered. Whether it was playful flirtation with guests, calling out celebrities, or making viral-worthy comments on sensitive topics, Sharpe never backed down from pushing the line. And for a while, it worked. It made him the most watchable man in sports media. But that same edge, it's starting to look more like a liability. His interviews often blurred the line between entertainment and exposure. He became known for catching guests off guard, asking bold questions, and reacting with over-the-top facial expressions that always made for memeable moments. But behind the viral clips was a pattern. Shannon was moving fast and talking freely, often without filtering for consequences. And in the digital age, everything lives forever. Every word, every look, every assumption. That moment with Jamalita Tillman wasn't isolated. It was part of a growing history of taking risks on air, risks that now carry a price tag. Even his fans started noticing the shift. Some questioned whether his confidence had turned into arrogance. Others felt like fame and fortune had made him sloppy. Was he still the focused, disciplined grinder he once was? Or had the spotlight made him too comfortable? The bigger question, was this collapse inevitable? Because the deeper you look, the more it seems like Sharpe's downfall wasn't just about one lawsuit or one rumor. It was the result of choices made again and again and again. On screen, Shannon Sharpe looked untouchable, a larger-than-life figure with charm, confidence, and a quick tongue. He was the guy who showed up in designer suits, joked about sipping Hennessy, and never shied away from calling out anyone, athletes, celebrities, even his own co-hosts. But behind that persona was something more complicated. The truth is, Shannon's image was carefully crafted. The working-class beginnings, the unmatched work ethic, the transformation into a media powerhouse. It was inspiring. But the private decisions he made didn't always line up with the image he built. While the world saw discipline and drive, insiders started to see recklessness, risky personal relationships, loose talk on public platforms, a growing belief that he was bigger than the consequences. Fame has a way of doing that. It blinds you. When everyone laughs at your jokes and praises your takes, it's easy to forget that one wrong move can take everything away. And for Shannon, that illusion shattered fast. One rumor, one accusation, one lawsuit. Suddenly, his carefully built brand wasn't looking bulletproof, it was looking fragile. And And here's the part no one talks about. When you're successful, you attract people who don't care about who you are, they care about what you have: money, status, influence. And when those people get close, even by accident, the fallout can be explosive. Opportunists see lawsuits, rivals see weakness, and fans, they start to wonder who you really are. Was Shannon a victim of targeted attacks? Or was he just too confident, too comfortable, and too slow to recognize the dangers closing in? Because at this level of fame, it's not about how strong you are, it's about how many people are waiting for you to slip.